many questions in my head as well, I'm sure, from the floor will come as well. But let me bring the conversation now to Mr. Kim. Mr. Kim Sang-hyup is co-chair of the Presidential Commission on Carbon Neutrality and Green Growth in Korea. I'm going to pivot a little bit and talk about, obviously, Korea's role in catalyzing global cooperation in areas like clean energy, infrastructure, energy storage. But two questions for you. What more from a country like Korea is your government? What more are you doing in terms of bringing things like green growth, technology, alternative energy, carbon capture technology to lower income partners around the world? What new sort of mechanisms are you thinking about, firstly? And second part of that question is, what more can higher income countries, such as Korea, others in the room, do in sort of catalyzing that kind of transfers? Via the G20, what other sort of initiatives are you looking at?
Well, those are very great questions, but by the way, I'm so sorry for being late. I just arrived at the airport 20 minutes ago. I hurried up.
Well, we congratulate you on getting here in
great
quick time.
To be here in this city, Thailand again. It was about 20 years ago when I attended the Summer Davos Forum held here in 2011. But, the role of Korea, I think it is important because Korea is in between the big countries and small countries and so-called developed and developing countries. Korea has tried to play a kind of bridging role in climate actions. I always say to my stakeholders, to our minister, for example, our commission has 22 ministers in our commission, but looking at the climate crisis, we do need to speed up and scale up our climate actions together. And I was so glad that Mr. John Podesta and Mr. Liu Junmin had a great meeting in Washington, D.C. last May. That is the way we should do, without having global #1 and global #2 in the climate action table. What's the meaning of G20, etc., multilateral things? But as for Korea, there's still green financing is a key issue. So very recently, we mobilized the green finance by 2030 up to more than $300 billion US, taking advantage of the private-public blended financing mechanism, because governmental budget can never be enough to achieve our NDC target. And we also identified 100 key green technologies to solve these problems. Some of them are making economic sense, but many of them need to grow much faster than now. There are several cases. So Korea needs to play its due part in global climate actions, because climate change is without doubt the global challenge, and which requires global response together. So in that regard, Korea set up two important international regimes in Korea. One is known as GCF, Green Climate Fund. We hosted the headquarters of the GCF in the year 2012. And in line with that, we also set up also very important strategic international organization, which is Global Green Growth Institute. That is to support the green and low carbon transition of developing and underdeveloped countries. Korea now has 48 member countries. Half of them are developing countries. Half of them are kind of contributing countries. So by working with those international regimes together with like-minded countries, I think Korea can contribute to something to the world.
It's going to be a very good segue as we talk about two different things. One, climate finance, which we will get to, and secondly, technology as well. And that's where I'm going to bring Julie into the conversation.
Yeah, both
linked.
Those are two important elements, but that can be never enough. We need people working together. Capacity building is another really important area. For example, in Vietnam, Korea set up known as the Vietnam KIST. KIST is a very important think tank on science and technology, which contributed to the economic achievement so far. So with the request, with the close cooperation with Vietnam, we set up Vietnamese KIST, Korean Institute of Science and Technology. That is to support capacity building. And I think that is critical.
Yeah.
Not just money, not just technology. By working together with like-minded setup, that is very important one.
So